Hey everyone, it's the Manga Viewer, and I think we just got one of the biggest chapters in the whole history of My Hero Academia, so let's break it all down. But before I do that, I want to remind you this is a huge spoiler video. If you haven't read the manga, please click off this video immediately. But if you are, and you're pretty sad, and you don't know the whole chapter and what exactly happened, stick together and stay here, because we'll break it all down, and I'll also tell you some news that will also relieve you, so stick around till the end. And if you enjoy my content, feel free to join the channel or thumbs up this video. Both is a great option. Alright, without further ado, let's kick off. Now before I start breaking down the chapter, I want to remind you of a really crucial detail that Furukoshi-sensei has been building up from a couple of chapters ago. If you actually notice in one of the last panels in one of the chapters, we can actually see Bakugo with some like starlights or something, which indicates like the symbolism of the One for All users. It's been symbolized from like hundreds of chapters ago, so it's pretty interesting to see that Horikoshi has been planning all that long ago. So the chapter actually opens up with Tamaki thinking about his friends. He thinks about Fat Gum, he thinks about Mirio and all the others, and he concentrates and shoots the laser beam that he has been building up from the last chapter, which literally lasts for miles. I was really shocked when I read the magazine and I saw how big that attack was. We don't normally see those attacks until All Might arrives or some of those big name heroes, so it was pretty interesting. But even that wasn't enough to dodge Shigaraki off. He basically says do you think that would have hurt All Might or that would have killed All Might? Tamaki is then shocked by that. He just looks at Shigaraki and he's like, dude, what the hell? I just shot one of my strongest attack. How the hell are you still standing? When all hope seems lost, Bakugo stands up slowly and he starts literally just dashing forward and flying forward really so fast that Shigaraki and All for One, both of them, can't keep up with him. They're really shocked at how fast he's moving. And we actually see the eyes, and inside of Bakugo's eyes, we see explosions basically kind of coming out of his eyes. He's just going beyond 100% and beyond his capacity. We see some explanations regarding Bakugo's quirk that we have never heard before, which is basically kind of a second use or a second base thing to his quirk, which is basically he can shoot up explosions from everywhere of his body when he produces sweat. So it was pretty interesting to see that, and that's why he was building up all that speed, and that's probably why Shigaraki couldn't keep up with him for a second. Bakugo basically flashes back and thinks to himself, can I keep up with you, Izuku? And I feel like he basically used that, and he basically tried to kind of attack Shigaraki with that attack, because he basically thought to himself, and he was like, can I still keep up with my rival that I have been going toe to toe with him from when we were 3 years old or whatever? We then see All for One and Shigaraki basically kind of going a bit uneasy. They are a bit unrelaxed, and they are a bit bothered. And they think to themselves this is not a One for All user. This is not someone really powerful enough like All Might to make me shake up or make me feel uncomfortable. So why am I feeling this feeling? And then he flashes back to the second One for All user, which is basically, the user that was passed on the quirk at the same time as the first user. And he literally just unleashes a full attack on Bakugo. He just goes all out. And it was really crazy to actually see that, and when I saw that, I thought to myself, okay, we see in the couple of chapters ago, we saw Eri, and basically All for One saying to Endeavor that villains are also dangerous when they are on the verge of death, and we also know that the second One for All users looks a lot like Bakugo. So could it be that maybe they can take Eri and put her in, help Bakugo and make him rewind in time and go back in time, so he can maybe save Izuku from getting raged or getting killed? Or maybe they might lose in front of Shigaraki when Izuku arrives and sees everyone dead or something, and he might just go full rage mode, and he might lose One for All and get killed, and that's why probably Eri will come in and just maybe save Bakugo or something. So I thought that would be an interesting panel, an interesting parallel to actually see that. So I don't know if this could actually happen or not, but I feel like it would be a really interesting thing to happen if just that was the scenario that Horikoshi-sensei was building up all along, is that the heroes will lose, but eventually they will get back again and win. Because one of the scrap covers of one of the volumes was actually something similar to that, so I feel like that would be pretty interesting to happen. But anyway, we go back and we see Bakugo, and kind of after he gets the full attack from All for One, we see him in a white space in front of an All Might vestige. And I feel like that's a really interesting Easter egg to the stars and the space stars we actually saw that indicates that maybe Bakugo might actually be one of the One For All users, or maybe one of his ancestors might be the one For All users. I feel like that would be pretty interesting to see. Bakugo then thinks to himself and he analyzes the situation. He's like, I get what I'm seeing right now. I'm probably dead. And he basically like kind of like picks up the All Might card that he won, him and Deku, from like when they were young, when they both got the All Might card, and he thinks to himself, man, my only regret is that I didn't get that signed from All Might. Despite all the time that they have spent with All Might, from like the training to the school to the teaching, he didn't get it signed from All Might, so that kind of like frustrated him a bit. Now at the same time that All For One unleashes the attack on Bakugo, the big three, which is basically Mario, Tamaki, and Nijire, with also the other heroes, jump on All For One and make like an all-out attack on him, but that also like doesn't make him budge. He's like, do you guys really think that this would actually hurt me? The chapter then cuts to the citizens, and we see that in the news there's like a huge increase in temperature. And we basically see like the civilians confused, like what the hell is going on and why the temperature is increased. We also see a panel of Bakugo's parents, and that's probably like indicating the emotional thing that's happened, because it's kind of like a Bakugo chapter in this chapter, so I feel like that was pretty interesting. But then we cut back and we see Bakugo laying on the ground, and his heartbeat seemed to be stopped with blood everywhere. And basically the last page, or like the last 2 pages, is a double spread with Bakugo laying on the ground, and the All Might card is basically near him. And that's basically how the chapter ends, and there is a break next week as well. Now, I saw a lot of people actually DM me and saying like, when I posted the summary of the chapter, they were like, why didn't you put that Bakugo is dead? Well, I highly doubt that he's dead. When I actually read the chapter and I kind of like saw how like the last panels are appearing, I don't think he's dead, and if he was, I don't think like maybe Horikoshi will be, you know, cruel enough to just kind of like make him out of the story, because he's basically a really popular character, and I feel like that's not where his character arc would end. And if that was the case, then I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. But, you know, if he also like decides to end Bakugo, I wouldn't mind. I mean, it's his story in the end, but I highly doubt that. So I want everyone to just like calm down. I know there is a break next week, which makes like the hype kind of like goes off a little bit, but I feel like Horikoshi Sensei did this on purpose to kind of like make people hyped up, so that in the next week or like the next 2 weeks, people would go in the store and they were like, what happened? Let me see just like My Hero Academia right now. What happened? So I feel like that's one of the reasons. As for the high increase in the temperature, I felt like that was a pretty interesting thing. I feel like there was a couple of reasons of why that could be the thing. I feel like Endeavor's battle with All For One, and basically the laser cannon that Tamaki unleashed, and maybe what's going on with Midoriya in the sea, all of those reasons could have like made the temperature rise a lot, or maybe something that has to do with Midoriya and the quirks that we still don't know anything about. I mean, we still don't know all of Midoriya's quirks, and we don't know exactly what are like the second and the third user quirk. We still don't know anything about them. So I feel like that would be pretty interesting if we actually get to know what happened with him. Maybe like some Nomus fly towards him, or maybe some villains, some high-tech villains from abroad might have like went in and fought with Midoriya. I feel like that would be pretty interesting. Since the heroes have brought heroes from abroad, I feel like the villains could do the same, or All For One could do the same, because we still don't know anything about All For One's plan. Like, we saw a little bit of what the heroes were planning and what exactly their plan was, but we never really got to see what the plan of All For One was. We just saw him like sitting on the chair, and he's kind of like smiling and giggling, and he's just kind of like predicting everything, which is basically what I do. But yeah, I feel like that was pretty interesting and pretty fun to see. I was pretty shocked actually when I saw Horikoshi do this move. But I feel like people are freaking out way too much on Twitter, and not just on Twitter, like everywhere, literally. I saw 2 girls like literally at the store, and they were kind of like reading the chapter, and they were just like shocked and stuff, and I was like, you know, I don't think Horikoshi is going to kill Bakugo like that. I just don't feel it's right. I feel like if he's going to kill him, it will probably be like in front of Midoriya or something, but I feel like that's something that have to do with the battle that's going to happen between Shigaraki and Midoriya. And what I'm thinking is that when Midoriya arrives, there will be no one left to fight Shigaraki except Midoriya. And like maybe also like Aizawa and the others will also like be done for. Maybe their eyes will be closed, or maybe Shigaraki will attack them or something. So when he arrives, he will just go full rage mode, like when Gensuki fought against Jirocho. So I feel like it would be pretty interesting to see what's Deku's reaction is going to be when he basically arrives and there is basically no heroes left to help him. And that would also like make the stakes a lot higher, because we know that Shigaraki is already a powerhouse without his quirks, and like with all the quirks that has been erased, he's still a powerhouse, and his skin is pretty tough. I feel like unless like there is someone like All Might or maybe like Deku with all of his 6 quirks open, they won't be able, there's no one left to stop Shigaraki except for like Deku or All Might. And not just All Might like in his prime. I feel like the current All Might, the USJ All Might, would probably have a chance against Shigaraki. Maybe he will be able to defeat him. But still, I feel like that's a lot of pressure on Deku himself, so I'm pretty excited to see how Horikoshi is going to plan and play with all those things that's happening at like all this time. So to recap what I think is going to happen in the next chapter, here's a couple of theories that you might be interesting to hear. The first one is that Deku might arrive and we basically will see everyone is like knocked off or maybe assumed to be dead. Deku will have a full rage on mode and he'll probably lose to Shigaraki. That's one. And the two thing is that the chapter will actually shift and show us Midoriya and what exactly is going on with the sea, because the last time we saw him, he was talking with the first user and then some stuff was approaching from the sea. So maybe that's like some villains, or maybe that's like some Nomus, or maybe some assists from other heroes or something like that. So I feel like that would be pretty interesting to see. Another thing that I feel like could happen is that we know that Eri is probably alone or have like some really low rank heroes with her. I don't think that she is really well protected, so I feel like the villains will actually use this chance to take her and maybe, you know, revive All For One once again, or maybe take her and use her as a bait or something. The third theory is, I think after Deku loses or assumed to be lost, probably Eri will be the key to rewind everything and kind of like go with the time travel theories that a lot of people have been talking about, and she'll be the one to save the day, kind of like how in Zack Snyder movie and the Zack Snyder cut, the Flash basically rewinded everything when everyone lost, and he basically saved the day. So I feel like that would be pretty interesting to see. Anyway, I'm really excited to see that. By the way, there is no chapter next week. Like, the magazine itself is on break, so there you won't be able to see anything next week, and if you see anything, it's probably fake, and it's basically fake. Will have to wait next week's 2 weeks to see what's going to happen. So I'm really excited. Let me know what you guys think about the next chapter. Do you think Bakugo is dead? Do you think Horikoshi will keep him alive? What do you guys think about the next chapter? Please let me know down in the comments. Anyway, if you would like to see the full summary, feel free to go over my Twitter and maybe follow me there if you would like, and check out the summary. Anyway, I have been the Manga Viewer, and I will see you all next time. Johnny!